gentlemen, please welcome to the lectern Shaun Madiwana for his Icebreaker speech. Shaun Madiwana.
Good evening, gentlemen. The title of my speech today is Who Am I? The Value of Meaning. So, 6 weeks ago, about 6 weeks ago, I was here and I came to see what this organization was about. Sweaty palms, and still 6 weeks later I find myself in that same position. But I should point out that there's already been an improvement. Mr. Van der Wacht can attest to that. I started my speech with saying, I'm the lost. So today is an improvement. So to start with, who am I? I struggled a lot with this. I picked a topic that I thought would truly talk about who I am and my journey. And I think the struggle in trying to define yourself is, all of us, as I'm sure, wear many different hats. Some of us are fathers, some of us are husbands, some of us are sons, some of us are activists. We all wear different hats. And what does that mean? That means that we truly have to understand how we can define ourselves perfectly. So when I say perfectly, I struggle with that because many different people come up to me saying, who is Shaun Madiwana? As you can see here, I've written, what, 3 printed pages and another 3 handwritten pages. That means I'm struggling. I'm not being effective in trying to define who I am and describing who I am to other people. So the place where I need to start is where I have more structure, or where I've had the most structure in my lifetime. And I think that is through education and the different schools that I've been to. To start off, I started off in the school of Mapate, which is in a small village in Pando. I was fortunate enough to not be there for too long just because the level of education there is not too great. My father got a job in Victoria, and so I went to Sunnyside Primary for a good part of my primary school education. While there, I struggled to fit in. And the reason why I struggled to fit in, because for the first time in my life, I was in an environment where there were many different languages being spoken and different cultures. And at that point, I was still trying to understand who am I? I'm developing, and there's so many changes internally too that it almost came to a point where I was like, how do I best define myself in this journey of life? And thinking back to that point and where I am now, I think there's a lot of motifs that are permanent in terms of how I want to be and who I want to be, in terms of the values that I uphold, the people I interact with, and the things that I do. While at Sunnyside Primary, I did well. I was captain of the cricket team. I got into Pretoria Boys High thanks to my academic records, and it was an amazing experience. But going to Pretoria Boys High once again brought about conflict, internal conflict, of how do I go about defining who Shaun Madiwana is. Once again, there's many different elements to who I am. I loved playing soccer. I loved reading, and the 2 different friend groups would be very confused. And the reason why they were confused is because the students would be like, very studious. How do you make time to go play soccer and go dancing with friends? And then my social friends would be like, but you're so studious, like how is it possible that you're able to do all these things with us but still get good grades? And I didn't have an answer for them. At some point I almost felt like I was maybe cheating on my different friend groups. And they felt also somewhat betrayed because at some level I had to decide who do I spend most time with. That too progressed to when I was in Mozambique, where I went to Maputo International School. That brought more challenges because now I was going to school with people from many different backgrounds. Kids from Europe, kids from from Asia who are really, really smart, kids from South America who are more like us Africans in terms of being humble and being disciplined. I learned a lot from every different culture, and I came to a point where I was just like, who truly am I then? Am I this Venda boy that grew up in the village that is trying to make his way now? Or am I a global citizen and trying to find meaning and value in my existence? Upon moving to the US, where I went to school, that too was further questioned, and my idea of nihilism came into play. Nihilism is when you start to believe that life has no meaning. I had to find meaning for me, because how? And the reason for that is because you have to go about defining your reality. And what I mean by defining your reality is there's so many different caps that you have to wear throughout your lifetime that you have to do what you value. I value learning, I value reading, because I get to tap into the great minds of the world without even having to meet them. One book that I'd recommend that everyone reads is The Go-Giver, because it talks about community service and the power of giving and the power of unity. You see that in nature with bees and ants and how they act and how they interact in the different ecosystems. And for me, that's amazing. I think there's a lesson for us to learn in just how much we can achieve when we're together. And the power of unity is something that is clearly being shown thanks to the Springboks, as my fellow member just remembered now, just mentioned now. And I think that's who I am. Someone who's a giver, someone who likes to learn, and someone who likes to interact with people from different walks of life. Thank you very much.